Hi everybody, Kirsty here, and this is my channel Garage Gym Girl, where I will share with you videos, tips, tutorials for handstands and flexibility training. Now, one question that I get asked all the time is, how do I structure a handstand practice or handstand workout? Sometimes because handstands are so fun, we tend to think that we shouldn't have this formal structure for a practice. We just want to play, right? We're just kids playing with handstands. And it is great to sometimes just do that, to sometimes just enjoy the fact that you can do these movements. But also, in order to progress and in order to feel like we're making really the best progress that we can, having some structure to our practice can be really helpful. So today I'm going to share with you my blueprint for a handstand workout that I use for all my students that I program for. The first part of any handstand practice for me is a warm-up. Now, this is warming up your joints, warming up your body for the practice you're about to do. So if I just have been sitting at my computer typing and then I come to do handstands, my wrists are pretty stiff and sore. So I want to make sure I get my wrists warm, I get my arms, okay, my shoulders moving, my shoulders ready to practice, maybe warm up my hips and hamstrings a little bit so that when I kick up, everything feels really good. So part of it is just warming up the joints, getting your body ready. The other side of your warm up is preparing yourself mentally. Okay, you can come from like a busy day, a stressful work day, maybe just even a stressful call with your family. It doesn't have to be stressful. Sometimes you can just be thinking about something else. Um, for a good handstand practice, you really want to be in the zone. You want to be focused. So your warm up is your time to just bring more awareness to your body, focus on your breathing, and really get your head in the right space for your handstand practice to ensure that you get the most out of your training and you get the best handstands that you can. So always, for me, I always start with a warm-up. The next thing I look at is mobility or stability work. Now, you might need neither of these. But if you're someone who is more stiff, okay, but lacking in flexibility, struggling to get in a good line for your handstand, then a little bit of mobility work at this stage of your practice can really help you get in a better line for your practice, okay? Someone, on the other hand, who is hypermobile, who has a lot of flexibility, um, or is just doesn't really have good stability when they're upside down, they might benefit from some stability work at this stage. Now, what I do in my practice, I tend to do a little bit of both. So I find that my shoulders can get a little bit tight. I have pretty decent flexibility, but I find my line is better if I do a little bit of stretching before my workout. Now, this for me is just one set, okay? I'll do one overhead shoulder stretch, so one shoulder flexion stretch, and maybe it'll be like a 2-minute stretch. Now, I'm not just sitting there in the position for 2 minutes. I will typically use a PNF method or a pails and rails contraction, something where I'm actively involved in that stretching. Then I'll usually do something stability related. So this might be some overhead carries, okay? Maybe take a kettlebell, turn it upside down, do some overhead carries, really work on wakening up all those muscles that help stabilize my shoulder. I might just do some active flexibility work. So lying on the floor, holding a stick, just lifting that up to really work that active range of motion. Depending on what I'm doing and depending on how my body feels that day. The next part, right, we move into our skill work. Now, this is where a lot of people make mistakes, and I do this myself sometimes. You jump right in to the bit that you want to improve. Okay, you're working your handstand or you're working your one-arm handstand, and what you really want is that really good one arm. But maybe you'll get a really good one arm straight off the bat. What's more common is if you refresh your skills, if you spend a little bit of time working on some of the foundational components of that, once you get to the part that you want to improve, you're going to do a better job of improving that. So the first part of your skill practice is to refresh your skills. So let's take an example. Maybe you're doing a workout where your focus is on improving your freestanding handstand line. okay? So for refreshing your skills, maybe you start just with some line drills lying on the floor, right? You think, okay, pulling my ribs down, tucking my butt, really trying to get that nice, straight, long spine, and you'll practice that on the floor. Then maybe you'll go up the wall. You'll do 2 to 3 chest to wall handstands, really trying to improve your line every time. Maybe you'll film these, right? Because that can give you really good feedback as to how the line is looking that day. Oh, my shoulders aren't as open as I thought they were. Let me improve that a little bit. Okay, now I've got that good chest to wall line. Then maybe before you start working on your line freestanding, you want to just warm up a couple of freestanding handstands, right? Just work on making sure your balance is there. So you'll do a couple of kick-ups, finding your balance, maybe just moving around a little bit, playing with some leg shapes to get comfortable with balance. Once you have that, then start working, kicking up, finding balance. Let's work on improving my line. Let's see the best line that I can get. Now, when we're in this improve your skill section of the workout, you want to have a way to judge, are you improving the skill? Is it getting better? And so, for example, something like the handstand line, film it, okay? Film the line and then look at it. Is that line straighter? What do I need to change? You don't have to film every single rep, but filming enough reps so that you can see if you're getting better, especially in this part of the training where the goal is not just to get a lot of repetitions in. The goal is to improve the repetitions that you're doing, to improve the skill, improve the movement. Now, another thing you might do is say, okay, I want to get more consistent with my handstand. So in the improve part of your workout, you're like, I want to kick up and find balance every single time, or as many times out of 10 as I can. So what you would do if that was your goal for the workout, in the improve your skill section, you would keep track. Out of 10 kick-ups, how many do I find balance and hold it for 5 seconds? Come down after the 5 seconds. You're focusing on consistency, consistently finding balance. You don't want to waste energy then just staying up for another 10 seconds, right? You want to save the energy so that you can improve the consistency of finding balance, okay? So this is your improve your skill. This is going to be the most important part of your practice. And those parts that came before, okay, the warm-up, the mobility, stability work, the skill review work, that stuff is so that when you come to the improve your skills part of your workout, you get the most gains possible, okay? You get the most improvement that you possibly can. Once you've done your skill work, if you have any energy left, that's the time you do your conditioning. So often people will say, well, I won't do my endurance if I put it at the end, so I put it first. And that's fine, but you're going to be tired for your skill work. You're not going to get the most out of your skill work. So if your priority is endurance, then yes, maybe have your endurance earlier in the workout. If your priority is the skill work, save the conditioning or endurance work to the end. Now, I often plan this, okay? I set my skill work, I set my conditioning, and I get to the conditioning part, and I have spent so long, so much longer than I planned on the skill work, right? I get carried away that I don't save any energy for the conditioning. So one thing that actually Inverted G on Instagram, Gail Pocock, one thing she recommended to me was schedule that on a different day, right? It makes perfect sense. It's very logical, but didn't think of it myself. So schedule that on another day, and that way you can just focus on the skill work one day, focus on your conditioning the other day. The last part of your workout is your recovery or cool down. Now this is really important, right? You've done this workout, you want to go do something else, you want your body to feel really good afterwards. Let's do just 5 minutes, 2 minutes, something to just cool your body down and make your body feel really good. Now, I have a wrist stretch that I really like to do at the end of my workout. So just stretching in this direction. My forearms thank me for that. I do a little shoulder stretch. Sometimes I'll do a little bit of foam rolling, or I'll get the Theragun out if it's been a particularly hard workout. And sometimes I'll just lie on the floor and breathe for 5 minutes, right? Just calms me down, allows me to go back into the house and face the cats who are ready for their dinner. and are screaming at me by the time I get in from my workout. So that is the general structure. Warm up, mobility and stability work, refresh your skills, improve your skills. And if you're going to put some play in, right, you maybe do your conditioning, then some play, right? I don't schedule that in, but if you were, that would kind of come at that stage. And then your recovery cool down work. Now, if you're thinking on a week basis, how do I program? I want to do a week's worth of handstands. How do I program that? Now, a really common thing people will do is they'll be like, well, I need to work on my balance, I need to work on my line, I need to work on my strength, and I need to work on my mobility. So I'll do one day for each of those. And that's okay. But what I find works a lot better is rather than saying, I've got 20 goals that I want to achieve, let's just say I'm going to pick one. I'm going to pick the most important goal, and I'm going to really focus on that for the next 4 weeks or next 6 weeks. Right? So maybe your goal is line. Maybe that's your biggest priority. So maybe 3 times a week, you're going to focus on your line. And, maybe once a week, you'll spend half the time also working on your strength or your balance or your mobility, because that's also maybe your second priority. But by saying 3 days a week, I'm going to work on my line, you're going to have a really good chance of making progress on your line after 4 weeks. And I guarantee you're not going to deteriorate, at least not a lot, on those other aspects, because you're still doing those 3 days a week of handstand practice, but you just have that narrow focus to really allow you to make the maximal progress on the thing that is your highest priority. So that is my blueprint for handstand training. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like below, follow my Instagram account. Thank you very much.